Hello and welcome back to Blurred Colors Art. Today's video is part of a collaboration for Valentine's Day. My partners are StitchWyck Creations, Harely's Dollhouse, and Claudoll. Everyone's video is linked in the description box below. For my doll, I wanted to go outside of my comfort zone. I don't think there is a doll that intimidates me more than the LOL OMG girls. To get started, I cut the hair. I'll be keeping it because it's gorgeous. I heat up the head with a hairdryer so I can remove it, and wipe her face with a cotton pad and acetone. I recently watched Mr Super Custom's video where he made a Decora Kei OMG doll. He sanded the eyes down and I thought it was really cute, so I'm giving that a go. Although it's been so long since I used my rotary tool, the battery is dead. I tried using it while charging, but it didn't work. I guess it's a safety precaution? So I ended up getting frustrated and didn't get any real footage of sanding her face off. It was probably safer that way. You can see there are some flaws. I slipped in a few places and sanded off her nose. I gouged out her eye and her cheeks too. I sanded until the vinyl started getting thin and I didn't feel safe going any farther. It was just best to move on to the hair. I found this blended yarn a while ago and thought it was absolutely perfect for a Valentine's doll. I cut about a foot-long piece and unwind it until I have 4 strands. Then I tug from both ends to get the longest fibers possible with yarn. Repeat until you have a nice pile. I love the different shades of pink in this hair. LOL OMG dolls have really hard heads, so before I continue, I want to get it back on the body. I heat it until it's nice and squishy. Even all warmed up, it took so much pressure to get it back on the body. That would have decimated a face up. My original idea was to reroute. Because of the hard head, I chose to just glue the fibers directly to her head. I work in rows just like when rerouting. Paint a line of glue, lay the hair down, then paint more glue over it. I cut the ends to neaten them up so that the hair is easier to glue down. I'm using Elmer's glue wall here. It's not waterproof, so I wouldn't submerge the doll or take her swimming or anything like that. But it's more than sufficient for shelf display. I am making art dolls after all. I finish up the part, which I did off camera. She's got quite the mop of hair, but she's cute so far. Choosing a pattern to make the clothes from was difficult. There are barely any available. I found 2 sellers across the entire internet. In the end, I chose the Looking Glass Lolita pattern from requiemart.com. OMG patterns are listed under their Chibi section, so if you need some patterns for your dolls, definitely check them out. I used the pattern as a base and made some modifications. I add another inch to the skirt and made the sleeves full length and wider. And of course, I add ruffles and all kinds of trim. Here's the base dress. You can add more detail and texture with some lace. I use different kinds to help bring the colors together. I think the dress needs some red so it feels more Valentine's Day instead of just cute. I machine sew all of the trim before sewing the skirt closed. I don't have a pattern for the socks, so I'm just going to brute force them. I measure out 2 rectangles of super stretchy fabric. Then I clip them around each leg, trying to keep the fabric tight and wrinkle-free. After it's held in place, I trace the shape of the leg on either side of the fabric. I cut the pieces out, leaving room for seam allowance around the drawn guides. Fold over the seam and pin again. I sew the socks off camera as well. Now she needs a petticoat. I cut 2 pieces of tulle using the original skirt pattern. Then I folded about a ½ inch down and sewed it in place, creating a channel. Guide a ribbon through the channel and it makes a drawstring. I made this tulle bow using the same materials. My concept is that she's a chocolate fairy who helps make candies to spread love the world over. So it makes sense she would need an apron to keep her dress clean. A little fairy magic, and we have an apron. Thanks to editing, you don't need to watch me cry over making this. I wrap the doll securely to prep for the face-up, then spray the base with a coat of Mr. Super Clear. I like to mix up brands of pencils that I use. This time I decided to use only Arteza Watercolor pencils. I feel like changing supplies often keeps me from getting into too much of a routine and makes me think more actively while I work. As you can see, I'm just sketching in the eye shape with a medium gray. I only draw a few lines at a time, then try to copy that on the other side of the face. People that can draw one eye completely and then make the second one match perfectly are honestly so skilled. I'm lucky if I remember what step I took just a few seconds ago. After I'm happy with the gray sketch, I start bringing in color. I give her little anime blush lines. And since I sanded off her face, I need to add some lines and shadows to imply a 3D form. I start with a light pink and see how that looks, but I'll go in with soft pastels later. She looks like such a cute little duck right. Since she's love and chocolate themed, I decided to make hearts a part of her makeup design. I didn't go too crazy because I want to add some chunky glitter to her face later. I try to work on each part of the face, on every layer, so that I don't need to spray as often. So I bounce back and forth between pencils and pastels constantly. On to layer 2. I'm just going in and darkening the edges to sharpen up the eyebrow and the lashes. For her eyes, I wanted to stick to colors you might find in a sunset. Because of that, I'm avoiding using any black in the irises or pupils. Instead, most of the shading and darker tones are done with a saturated purple. I keep this in mind for her eyelashes as well. On the inside of her lashes, I use a bright red. I want her face to be soft and friendly feeling, so I'm sticking to warmer tones for everything. Even though her nose is gone, I'm doing my best to contour it. In the end, it was kind of a happy accident. She has a cute chibi face because of how flat it is. Rolling with that idea, I gave her a little dot nose like you see in anime art. I draw little heart and petal shapes that blend into her eyeshadow, and a few that break away from her eyes. needs freckles, but since it's Valentine's Day, they're heart-shaped. On the last layer, I'm really pushing the colors as far as I can. I draw a small shadow around the lip highlight to make it pop more. Since her hair has some purple tones, I add some purple to her eyebrows as well. It's a little hard for me to remember what hair looks like under the head wrap. If I'm planning a project correctly, then I usually take a photo so that I can look back during the face-up and see the hair easily. Now I'm going in with some white acrylic paint and adding the catch lights. I feel like multiple reflections in the eyes make the character appear more innocent and friendly. And I pump up the white highlights while I have my paint out. If I overpaint an area, I just go back in with the correct color. This usually scrapes the paint off without damaging the face-up, but if it doesn't, it covers up the white really well. Before I seal the face, I want to add glitter. I use a dotting tool and apply a bit of Elmer's glue all to the face. Then I use my tweezers and place the glitter. This glue dries clear, so you don't have to worry about it being visible later. I seal the face one final time. Again, I was really inspired by Mr. Super Customs, and I wanted to try doming her eyes with resin like he did. I squeeze a little onto the eye, and then move it around with a dotting tool. I'm using this tool because the metal tip is really easy to clean. I use my little UV light to cure the resin. I did 3 layers like this before I was satisfied with the eyes. Off camera, I made some shoes using Warbler thermoplastic. Her outfit needs some finishing touches. I draw up a quick pattern. I like using paper towels because it behaves very similarly to cotton and you can get a good idea of how things will lay. This will be a pocket for the apron. Transfer the pattern onto some cotton and cut it out. The edges will need to be hemmed. I mark some cuts around the bottom curve. This will help relieve some of the tension on the fold. I hem this off camera. The apron is too plain, so let's draw on a design. I use my Arteza fabric markers and sketch out some hearts. I start with a light pink and add some shading with a red marker. Looks good so far. To set the design, you need to heat the fabric once the marker has fully dried. I'm doing a test on a scrap piece of fabric here. I've never used these markers before, so I didn't know what to expect. Off camera, I drew a border of hearts on the apron and sewed the pocket onto the front. I want to make some earrings for her. I found that the holes in her ears were pretty shallow, so I deepened them with my hand drill. I made these little earrings out of 2 sticky hearts that I stuck together and folded over a wire. I had some candies that I sculpted for an older custom that never got used. I want to see if I can use them in Sugar's outfit. Ah yes, her name is Sugar Heart. The name was suggested by my 6-year-old daughter. It makes me think of a My Little Pony character, so I mean, it's perfect. These little candies were all made with Crayola Model Magic clay and have already been primed. Now I'm giving them all a coat in either pink or red acrylic paint. This 3D paint had frozen, so it's damaged and is coming out chunky instead of smooth. It actually works pretty well for a piped icing consistency. Thankfully, my brown paint survived. I'm drizzling it over the top of this rose-like lollipop that I made, so it looks like it's been dipped in chocolate. I do a few chocolate streaks over some of the little spheres. So my idea is not that Sugar is a doll, but rather a fairy. So that means she's full grown and not 1/6 scale. I want her to have a magic spoon for mixing her special chocolate with. I'll use this old disposable plastic spoon and rough it up with a sanding sponge. After it's cloudy looking everywhere, I give it a spray with MSC. Then I give it a base coat of black acrylic paint. After that, I give it a coat of Deco Art Gold paint. I didn't like the gold color in the end, so I painted another coat with rose gold color this time. Once everything is dry, I coat it in Sculpey gloss. I drill a hole in the bottom of the lollipop. And I stick a toothpick in it, yeah. And I stick a toothpick in it. Let's finish decorating the spoon. I'm terrible at tying neat bows, so I'll just edit all of my struggles out. There, pretty cute if I do say so myself. After it's tied, I finish up the ends. I burn the tips with a lighter so they don't unravel. I'm honestly pretty heavy-handed with fire, so I don't use it very often. I use fabric glue and apply a few satin roses. Let's give the lollipop the same treatment. This time I use white roses for contrast. I paint on some brown puffy paint like I did for the rose pop, so the spoon looks like it's been in a pot of chocolate. I pick some of the smaller candies and glue them over the lace trim of her dress. I alternate between red and pink. Oh, I also decorated the candies with more colors and puffy paint to make them more interesting looking. To finish off her shoes, I glue on little white domes for fake buckles. To style her hair, I started by splitting it into 2 ponytails. Then I added another elastic and puffed the first section up, a lot like how bubble braids are done. Then I wrapped the end around the first elastic, making a bun shape. I secured this with a third elastic. Let's try to incorporate some of the candy into her hair. I push a pin through the red drop. Then I hook it into the bun so it keeps the hair in place. I use a pair of pliers to push the pin into her head. I still want to use the tulle bow, but I don't want to glue it directly to her head. So I wrap a ribbon around her buns from behind and loop it around to the front. Then I tie it so the tails hang in the back. Using fabric glue, I attach the bow over the knot. And she's done! I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone with this doll. I tried a new base, sanded her face off, and even used new techniques. I think I'll be brave enough next time to try working on the molded eyes whenever I do another LOL OMG custom. Be sure to check out the other dolls from the collab. I have everyone's channel listed in the description box below. Thank you for spending this holiday with me. I'll see you next time. Bye!